Hello, everyone out there. Thank you all for coming, and I don't know if it's still snowing. Yeah, it's a little bit. But thank you all. Thank you to Versefest for having a wonderful, wonderful week of reuniting poets and writers and arts lovers in this room and with so many different presenting series this week. My name is Glenn Nuatio. I am one of the co-founders of Qu'ART, which is Ottawa Queer Arts Collective. We're just a group who help organize little things in town and have some other programs going on. Anyway, but we are here tonight to present Coda for the Victims, which is a section of poems that is found within Lost Family, which is a memoir of sonnets by John Barton, who is here tonight and will be a big part of this. There are copies for sale. I'll tell you this all the time. There are copies of this available in the back from our friends at Perfect Books. And they're also available through Vehicle Press, who are the publishers, who I would like at this time to thank them for their trust in me with this project and being so generous in negotiating the rights and permissions for us to take these wonderful poems and to turn them into songs and performances for you tonight in this first stage of whatever this ongoing John Barton love project that is my life of the last few years has been. I don't have any bios for anyone with me. They are on the Versefest website, so I can't tell you anything about John Barton himself. This is my very ragged old copy of this book. Just came out in 2020? 2020, I think this book, yeah. So in 2020, yeah, so this has only been dropped it's been written into, it's my working copy, it's only been dropped in the tub once. And, but from these poems, I started pulling out some ideas and thinking about songs, and this was originally going to be a song cycle of like a dude at a piano, and then I thought, this doesn't have to be that. There are so many different rich themes and parts of queer history and Ottawa-specific mentions in this, and so I started shopping it around and sending them to some friends and some people I admire, who are also friends, I do admire. And as they responded to the poems, we got to work, and they started picking and we started making stuff. So this has been a project that has been, we got a grant from the Ontario Arts Council in 2021. Yeah, which feels like, a million before years ago. And back in no, we weren't in the before times, it was just the times. And the grant said that, it has to be done by 2023, and I laughed at that, like, why do they do this? And then now it's, it's the end of March in 2023, and well, here we are. So thank you to the Ontario Arts Council from Qu'ART and Versefest. On that note, On that note, I can't believe this is really happening. It's been so speculative and planning for so long. We've got some amazing artists who are part of this very obviously informal evening. And I'd like to first introduce Ensemble Allure to the stage to set up. This is Stephen Eckert on piano, Renee Dawn, first Eric Johnson-Sugar on violin, Renee Dawn on viola, and Ben Borg on guitar. And to start us off, I sort of imagined this as kind of a variety show, but it is. Do you want to describe the poem before you start it? Do you want to do a little bit about the poem, please? I can do that. Okay. Before this first presentation, I'd like to introduce John Barton to come up and take my place here, and he will do this first performance. Please welcome the reason this is happening, the poet John Barton. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't eat the mic if I can't reach it. So first of all, I just want to thank Glenn for bringing us all together. It wouldn't have happened without Glenn's dedication. So just before we do the first poem, I just give you a little thumbnail about the protagonist of this poem. The poem is called My Ackerley, Myself, and J.R. Ackerley was a British author who died in 1968. He was a veteran of World War I. He was a close friend of the British novelist E.M. Forster, and he was a very talented writer. He wrote in all genres, poetry, fiction, drama, and he wrote a very famous memoir called My Father and Myself, which is the inspiration for the title. My Ackerley, Myself. You were the most genial man he'd met, Forster said. A new friend, decades older, your height and Spartan gaze making you bold. A one-time prisoner of war who kept shirt-lifting guardsmen in the damp shadows near Marble Arch, your wash-and-wear candor, ill-fitting payment, unlike the stature of your poetry, the cleanness of your prose. You always came too early, excitement or fear, no anodyne, man satisfied. Gratification disrobed, not the point. A dog, while you walked on the embankment in your abstinent last years, wrote its life, which I've read and cannot forget, or won't.
Oh yeah, one thing I forgot, thank you, that was beautiful, by the way. One thing I forgot to fill you in on is that these are sonnets. So these are 14-line short works, which are great. At this point, I'd like to introduce, on percussion, this is Stefan Schneider, who is setting up, who came in from Montreal, but he's known in Ottawa as well, having family and friends and many fans and friends here. And this is Mark Andrew Hamilton, Wood Pigeon. And I am going to read their bios, since I can. As I go online here. Great. I'd like to say hi to everyone who is watching from the live stream over there, I guess. Thanks for, I know that there are some people who couldn't come down with the weather and stuff like that, and there are people who are watching and interested in this from away. But it's great that as many people are here. This experiment is, well, this is sort of almost a social experiment and a way to kind of find queer musicians and artists in the city as well, and to find out who is interested in making work that, that we can make and we can carry, and how we can find each other and build, the sector. It's just no small feat, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, let me read a bio for you. Actually, I won't. Just one sec here. So, I should tell you now, Wood Pigeon does have some albums here, and they'll be in the back or they're on him, but I think he's released 7 full-length albums so far, and I'm a real fan, so yeah. I am. I'm a real fan. Anyway, as Wood Pigeon, Mark Andrew Hamilton has released 7 full-length albums and a scattershot of singles and EP since the project's debut in 2006. His work has received critical acclaim from The Guardian, New York Times, Die Zeit, and others, and others, and also received the inaugural Saatchi Gallery Music Prize in 2011. And you can find all of his records on Bandcamp, which is really great. And also, I might as well read Stefan, because people show up and I want to give them the credit they deserve. Raised in Ottawa, Stefan Schneider studied classical percussion and jazz drumming at university and has been working as a professional musician across Canada for the last 22 years. He performs and tours nationally and internationally with many artists, including Jeremy Dutcher, the Juno Award-winning instrumental ensemble Bell Orchestre, as well as Richard Reed Parry's group Quiet River of Dust. Stefan is also an original member of the Toronto-based 12-piece chamber ensemble, the Queer Songbook Orchestra, made up of a selection of top queer and allied musicians. And Steph has been a member of the indie group The Luyas for over 13 years and has recorded and toured with an array of other artists, including Joran, Sophia Nolan, Das Owl, Sarah Neufeld, Chris Dirksen, Eamon Tobin, Elisa P. Isaac, Random Recipe, Jason Sharp, and René Lucier. And Mark, do you want to introduce your sonnet/song and just the connection you have? And when I remember talking a phone call, this started with a phone call I think I had.
Yeah, I think you were. Were you in the bath at the time? I think you might have been.
No, I wasn't in the bath. I wasn't in the bath. I'm going to go. This is my
Yeah, we're doing a sonnet called The Loneliness of Everett Clippert. And I was born in Calgary, which is a deep, dark secret, so just keep it in this room. Which is, even though he was born in Kindersley, I think, that's a place that Everett Clippert lived. And he was the last man in Canada that was arrested for being homosexual. So this song is for him. Oh, Glenn's gone, okay.
To certain contacts with those males who would start repair. He found himself with no jack in prison. 3 years time for man, and justice tarring him, a dangerous intimate offender to keep his hands and mouth away from tools, one of unlike age, at least, however. Well, if as he'd avoid them, despite the rules, Decades ago, his release engineered after piled up junkyard years. No one held him, warehoused him in a cell, barred by fears. Nothing could corrode before it's unsealed. And he's free, dies guiltless, but unpardoned. Forfeits engine, not flushed out for thousands. And he's free, dies guiltless, but unpardoned. Forfeits engine, not flushed out for thousands.
Thanks.
I feel like I want to do a Q&A with John Barton as we go on. Anybody have any questions about the poetry process for him right now? Can I just pull him up and do like Steve and Edie Gourmet kind of thing, you know? I'd like to ask River to come up to the stage, please. And who's up next, and is a friend of mine, is a wonderful singer. And River has just released a new album out. It's got a new album out called Talk to the Truth, and has done a lot of recording, also with Dean Watson, who people in Ottawa may know at the recording studio that Dean Watson is there. But as River says, born in Montreal and raised everywhere else. It's weird to quote someone's bio when they're in the room, but anyway. I'm still not sure if I fully know the message I'm leading, but my passion has led me to all the right places I needed to be to create. I live from the freedom of expression I get by doing music. Recently put out an album called Talk the Truth, and it is available on most music streaming platforms. And all of the bio information and links to the artist's music is on the Versefest website. If you go to the event itself at the Versefest Verse Ottawa website, you'll be able to find out more about each of these artists. And do you want to say anything about the poem itself, or?
I'm very happy to be here.
I'm very happy you're here as well. Please welcome the River. Thanks.
Thank you. Ooh. bookstore took its name, and many cities and pubs and others, as did such strip clubs where men send drinks to men. Sold sex, found drugs, some in dark back rooms, sends the pitiless, sheltered limbs, defined the code of track sanctums gone, found to avoid itself in walls and bub naked. Unwrapped windows dim as though self-hate wax to hide the air shadow. While we page our love's way through, this queller his words blew open, a door to sunlight and cafes near the scene, to the matchless rive droite. Housemen stood fairs, claimed as hours outside the love Baldwin. Cigarette leaf drafting from guillotine, shame of chrysalis. Cigarette leaf drafting from guillotine, shame of chrysalis. Thank you.
That was River with Giovanni's Room. Thank you, River, for that. So that was River's take on Giovanni's Room, which is one of the sonnets from Lost Family. I would like to invite Taylor Stocks to come up, and Ben to please come to the stage. And I'm part of this one too. Fun. Okay. Taylor, you may know, is Dr. Andrew Box, and their drag king as their reigning MX Capital Pride. Yeah, and is also a great singer and musician and fellow Newfoundlander and Labradorian. It's always fun when the queer, in my life, when the queer mafia and the Newfoundland mafia kind of find each other. It's not, yeah. So I'm going to come over there. We kind of match. Well, I mean, we don't kind of match, but like, sure, yeah. Sure. Hi, is this on? No, not yet.
Good.
Hello? Hello? What? I'm on? Oh, I'm on. Oh, great. Yeah, I'm saying we kind of match. Well, I mean, I'm not wearing velvet, but, purple, black, black, purple. We didn't plan this at all. We just showed up and hey. So this is I guess this is a piece, it's called Age of Foolish Risk. And I don't know if people were riskier when they were younger than they are now, but often it happens. So this is it's a little ditty, I guess, about AIDS panic. So a little melody was stuck in my head about this, so I brought it to Taylor and Ben, and they improved on it. And now we'll do this with them. Thanks.
All right.
How could I have known I had entered you under false pretenses? Till some local weekly I picked up after focused my fear of illness. Stated you had sued GMHC for unjust dismissal. The through line extending as ironic. Probable cause, your luckless status. Sick and unthinking, my sense of self annulled. 20 mute years later, finding myself keen to confess I was aroused and stupid. Should have asked you, not played empty-headed. Stayed on top in ways more than one. You a wolf. Not to tell me, hinting it was my choice not to wear a condom and lose my voice.
Thank you. Taylor Stocks, Ben Borg. We were going to call ourselves the Bareback Family Religious Traveling Singers, but we, let's just say it didn't make it into the program in the time. Well, hey, this was in the days of U equals U, by the way, so, you know, yeah. Oh, let's bring up John. So, John, how did you feel when you wrote that sonnet? Come on up. Let's... How did I feel? Yeah. John Barton, everyone.
My favorite word in that poem is stupid. You know, it just summarizes a lot for me. And about that time, about the balance between being responsible and forgetting to be responsible for oneself.
1 second. I'm going to go. John is about to read a poem, and I'll be back. I don't know, why am I standing up here?
A buddy system. Anyway, that was a fabulous rendition of that poem. So the poem I'm going to read is very locally, well, in one way, locally based. and I won't say anything more. Love's twin. My radio switched off. I walked to work. U.S. Embassy without barriers. Peace Tower's morning shadow, a flame carried forward by leaves pulled through the canal's murk. Becalmed current, mirror still. The quartz air, bright with a chill I felt with relief. Stung, you wouldn't visit me. What we'd share hung in suspense. Your rancor about to flare. The first plane, a starburst through the north tower before I reached my desk. The second's heat, a sword winged through the south before your hate felled me when you called love's exploding star burning my hands. Phone incinerated, worlds collapsing, the personal prostrate. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for that. John Barton's poems, I read a poem by him called Days of 2004, Days of Cavaphy, is that right? Days of 2005, Days of Cavaphy, Inflation. And it was one of the first poems I read that was a queer poem that was actually set in Ottawa, and it was very inspirational for me to think, hey, we can make queer stuff about here. So it's great that you read that there are references in the book to Ottawa, and there's sonnets by them. I'd like to ask Sizey to come up and get ready. DJ Sizey, I'm going to get the bio about that. Sorry. One great thing about, as I was saying, one great thing about that there are local poems references that is that Sizey is a DJ and a friend of mine and a really interesting hip-hop artist, and my phone is not working, so hey. But they have taken two poems, one that is, one second here, thanks. I mean, this isn't TV. We've got all day. We're good. Yeah, I've taken, there's a poem called School of Zerasfino that John had written that is about a bar that was Central Park at the time. And this is for the old queers out there, the ones who are like, you know, who are still going out. Great. So Central Park became Centertown Pub, and more people may know it by that. So there's a poem in here that references Centertown Pub. And also there is What We Live For, and which is about nightclubs, and it has a reference you'll hear in the work. And we both went through these poems about a year ago, John, and then we thought this would really, you know, lend itself well to a rapper, a hip-hop artist doing something with it. So, is Sizey here? I can't see through this. Oh, you're my God, you're so ready. Sizey's already. All right. Well, I would like to welcome to the stage, please welcome Sizey.
All right. Thank you for having me. I'm not really a singer, so this is more of like a recital. Hope you enjoy. Toxic, the club where we met, run down now. It was run down then. The John sickened with beer, dim crush of moon flesh dancing, the strokes freeze frame, history painting, a stock animation. mirror balls, matches, condoms, sweat raw limbs, shedding shirts, shedding discos, shrillamyl nitrate, Doc Martens, plucked or pierced eyebrows, ripped chinos, zigzagging tans, shine is shunned. Sherry your cheeky decanted ploy to haul me home, to fortify us both, pouring dryly from our clothes after scorching cold flames, our skin running from din, making you bold. Air smokeless, one candle lit, till you wore me out and down, our legs down-slaked and sprawled. We stopped for one night, our legs spread cradled by clover fields and strip malls, the theme parks closed. The mist magic we sought cooling, marked by swampy vistas, lust lacking cradle, where desires falling flat and stay so green and reedy, blood warm, slow flowing aquas, lacking decks as we spoke less, insect buzz outgunned by engine revs as we drove keen to sleep, wake, then silent, then fly silent and away. But hours after shootings in Orlando, just hours after shootings in Orlando, you dream out of reach but safe, while I hold a candle and recall Latino men slain, dancing at a gay club where we once would. Hate like love abrupt, unnoticed, not dead, dancing at a gay club where we once would. Hate like love abrupt, unnoticed, not dead.
That was awesome. Thank you, Sizey. Wow. Sizey, just to point out, also produced and created the music to this as well. So, yeah, find their stuff. Your stuff on Bandcamp, and it's Sizey is Seiiizi. That's S-E. Say it with me. Seiiizi. Okay. Great. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite DJs, and one of the most interesting emerging, not emerging, we're all emerging. It's just like, what is emerging anymore? How long do you have to be at it before you stop being emerging? I don't know. Does anyone self-recognize as a mid-career artist yet? I don't know. Anyhow. It's a lot of seasons, and one of them is grant writing season. Anyway, shout out to all the administrators out there. Let's hear it for the administrators. Let's hear it for the people behind the scenes. I'd like to thank Avonlea, who has been the director of Versefest and has been, and with the team, but especially Avonlea has been keeping this running, and it's no small feat at all. And again, it's really great that Versefest is back, and we've all seemed to, dust ourselves off and try again. Yeah, here we are. Okay, I would like to invite John Ian to the stage, please. I hope that's the right order. Yep. Great. I'm just holding for reflection here. Sorry. Do you know what I miss having? I miss paper. I know. I miss having a lot of paper, and that comes with, yeah. So everyone, what's happening on your phone out there? Here we go. Thanks. So this is John Ian. John will be performing this is the start. This is the part of the show where I just dysfunction a little. We'll be performing a song based on the sonnet "Folded on the Steps of the Museum of Broken Relationships." And Yeah, I won't. And again, you can find John Ian in his heartfelt songs inspired by folk, rock, and alternative. Singer-songwriter John Ian tells stories, observes, and ponders. Born and raised in Germany as a girl, John had to take some detours to get to where he is today, and tends to look at things from a different angle. And Qu'ART has done a few different performances, and it's great that John is always able to be part of them. Please welcome John Ian.
Thank you. Is this on? Yeah? Okay. That's a good start. What numbness you've left me. No detergent will lift from fabrics it's worked itself into. The regret so true, the weave can't lose it. To let past my flesh course, naked when dressed. The shirts I gave you, kept in my closet, washed anew and unworn. No other man, as slight shoulders trim, upholding the span of yoke stitched and restitched till they would fit. The stranger in you, buttoned and polished, my off-the-rack tears and sweat binding them to your skin, unknowable to both of us. Who you are, a shirt no iron could touch, lassitude you let slip off without blame, light dropped to the floor as your shape was lost. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John, for that. And again, if you go to the bios of everyone on the Versefest, Verse Ottawa site for this event, you can find out how to find their music and support them. And for those who don't, I think Bandcamp is still the best way to get money in the hands of musicians. Is that right? Yeah. Are we agreed that yeah, I guess so. Anyway. Yeah, okay. Or just walk up to them and give them money. I mean, you know, like, they're artists, you know, they probably need it. Just anyway. And you can get some merch too. Ensemble Allure has become sort of like Qu'ART's resident band. What a luxury it is to live in a place and have this project where you can have an ensemble as your kind of like, you know, not on retainer, but as a, you know, and they do a lot of, they each do a lot of great work on their own, and I'm just very grateful, and to Stephen, the composer and pianist, for making these works. And yeah, with that, I am going to reintroduce John Barton, who will tell you about this next piece. Thanks.
There's not a lot to say. Life drawing. To lay down one line and find a likeness, the body caught in a single gesture. Expression in the touch. The skin-toned chalk he'd held loosely, lightly, the slightest pressure lent into, from the shoulder, a movement through elbow, wrist, to fingers, paper looked away from, not at. Flesh as thought, dormant knowing called forth, not trespassed, change mistook for fate, fate for chance. As what's found is joined by more lines, body, static and time lapse, what the skin hides implied, not purloined, but worked out. Each drawing a capsule, forgotten until lifted from the vault. What's seen in it when laid flat, not faultless.
Thank you. At this time, hi everyone. How are you doing up there? I'd like to thank Eric at this point for all the great tech help and the juggling in this room. Yeah, I came in I feel with this program or this project, I'm kind of like a dervish with a plan and then kind of like, griefy execution, we'll call it. So it's, today was, I really appreciate with so many different types of artists and performers. I'm looking at the wrong poem. Within Coda for the Victims are 18 or 20 poems, I guess, within, is that right? I'm looking over to John, like 18 or 20 poems. And so we're presenting some of them tonight. Some of them actually, this is sort of the first birthing of the we did a couple of these pieces as part of the ARC Poetry magazine launched last year, but this is the first birthing of them all. So some remain in the hands of some artists who are working on them, and some we are just going to keep writing and wait for other people to respond and keep building. So this is something we want to build. This is called Kenny's Bracelet. A twined, hammered twist of what's left of him. Nickel, copper, brass, a glinting soldered echo you heard. Found as his apartment was emptied out. Noise tamp studio dim with what became the East Village. Retro and gentrified, how he lived forgotten. What killed him a virus, loving thousands of men. The past scarecrow out staring fear. Garbage cleared from Broadway. The ignored way he died. Not how we are. Let go. Dying now. His bracelet a scar you wrap around my wrist. Longing reclaimed, a molten link that my skin warms. How like me he used to sit, my hands across one knee. A molten link my skin warms, and how like me he used to sit, hands clasped about one knee. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. I'm going to come back over here. It's much less vulnerable. Thanks. Disclaimer, there is a bracelet that, what's up? Taylor, what's next? Taylor's next, right. There is actually a bracelet that I'll tell the story because I just need to decompress a little bit. It's been a minute and a half. There's a bracelet that was a friend of John's had. Her role in New York was, as a friend, was to go into the apartments of guys who died from AIDS and clean them out. And so there was there was a bracelet belonging to, I guess, a guy named Kenny, and she had sent it to John. And yeah, and it's still with him. Anyway, I'd like to dedicate tonight, if for a second, to Jay Kunstra and to Richard Cliff. Yeah. Yeah, for those who knew them. And to everybody else, to everyone else, because we've all, it's been a rough few years. So we've all lost people. We are, and yeah, we've all lost people. So I just want to awkwardly end this tribute. Thanks. Anyway, at this point, I would like to invite Taylor Stocks to come back to the stage. It's great that you could be here. Taylor's now living, I mentioned before, he's now living here in Ottawa. How's that going for you?
It's good.
Yeah, me too. It's good. Yeah. So, yeah, that's true. Taylor, do you want to introduce the sonnet poem you're doing and talk about it? Would you like me to?
Sure. Yep. I'll do that while I tune. So this poem is called Twilight on English Pastoral. My grandparents immigrated to here from Britain and Ireland. And well, I'm some queer and trans, so I often wonder who out of my ancestors were romping around the woods. So here's a beautiful poem that hopefully turned into an okay song. The rambling lower boughs entangle light in washes. The rain dry cedars filter skyward down. Green needle perimeter undercut with camouflaging browns. Light turns crepuscular. Then Wordsworthian traces cut through the old growth, meandering friendless as the man who plays them. Laundered trousers unbuttoned, breast pockets torn. Paint rubbed thin under the finger's soft tread of boots, shushed by leaves, repeating circuits incised through laid papers, receptive field lusts, under brush of love artless, woods bled of cross-hatched paths no limb-barred moon admits. What's not sunlit, unabashed? What's not sunlit, unabashed? What's not sunlit, unabashed? Risk annealed. Risk annealed.
That was beautiful. If a song ever makes you want to go cruising in the countryside, it's going to be that one. Wow. I think we're at the last one. Wow. We kept it in time. Awesome. We're going to do it. We're going to keep it tight. We're going to just fill it with all of, show off as much talent as we can, So we'll do a quick little wrap up at the very end, but I'd like to just quickly, while I can, to thank them again, read Ensemble Allure's bio as they sit up. Ensemble Allure is a collective presenter of contemporary classical and experimental music originally based in Ottawa, now spread apart interprovincially. Actually, Stephen is doing their doctorate in performance at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and I'm very grateful that they were able to, be part of this again, and got on a plane at 6 o'clock out of Detroit, 6 a.m., a 6 a.m. flight out of Detroit to be here for this weekend. So I appreciate that. And I've lost my space. So yeah, they are now interprovincially and okay. Still live here for whatever purposes. The ensemble convenes annually and operates in a modular way. For this performance in Ottawa, the ensemble will be composed of, once again with my thanks, Ben Borg on guitar, everyone. Eric Johnson Scherger on violin. Renee Dawn on viola. And Stephen Eckert on piano. And now John had pointed out that it's a hard particular piece to give to a singer to do, given its subject matter. But we realized we couldn't do a show called Coda for the Victims and name it after a section called Coda for the Victims unless we did the title track and presented the sonnet Coda for the Victims. So it was one of those oh yeah, of course. But so I would like to invite the reason for the season, John Barton, to come up and introduce this last performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Before I talk a bit about the poem, I just want to say that hearing all the songs that have been made from my poems makes me more aware of their elegiac content and so movingly presented. I sort of feel that maybe elegy is the mode of my generation, the generation that had to live with AIDS. I don't know if there's anything that I should say about the title poem because the subject is so dark that I don't really want to make it worse. Thank you. So why don't we just do it, and then after you can come and pick my brain privately. Coda for the Victims. It takes no self-consciousness to guess how a landscaper could pick them. The tapped swipe of their profiles, such null bodies, his type. Disassembled already by the cropped gaze of their smartphones, parts isolated from their eyes, shaved or engorged, trunks of brown skin, oceans away from home, or ground down by what being born here has made them prey to. Invasive species, he would text lines and root from cover with the funk of sex. Horny men used to rough white hands, not death. Strip limbs he disjoints before he consigns them. To mulch he rakes flat. Unseen index of those too few miss. Us all psychopaths.
Thank you, everyone. Beauty will save the world. Thank you, Ensemble. Thank you, all the amazing artists. Thank you, Versefest. Thank you, most of all, to John Barton for these incredible poems. Thank you. Thanks to everyone who came. For those who are in the room, we're going to go over to the Embassy Suites, which is the after lounge, resident festival lounge. So please join us. Stay in touch with Qu'ART. Please support the artists you've heard tonight. And we'll see you next time at Versefest. Thanks so much, Versefest.